one of the best pieces of advice that I received from an editor was working at Ancestry.com, and there was a particular email that was just very complex information, and it wasn't even just writer's block, it was just an inability to distill this information. And she said, just sit down and pretend that you're having a coffee with a friend and explaining to your friend what is being done with their DNA. And so when you can kind of inhabit that space and pretend that you're talking, and this is something I tell people a lot, don't worry about the writing, just speak it. Just like you're speaking to a friend, and then put it on the page. Sometimes that's enough to help with writer's block. Because for me, it's sort of not just a block, it's sort of a lack of focus or a lack of ability to distill the information. And if you can just step away from the page for a minute and just be conversational, that's sometimes enough to help get over it.
Yeah, and also what we discussed earlier, you know, I mean, like sometimes it's just really, stepping away from the computer and just, going for a walk in the forest or doing some, I don't know, sports or just any type of activity that gets your brain out of that rut, you know, where you're in right in that very moment. And but at the same time, I think sometimes or in general, the hardest part is just to get started. You know, like even when you think like, okay, you know, like for whatever reason, what's holding you back, but just to push through that and put something on the paper that you can let sit for a day or 2 days, and then you get back to it and you reiterate, even though if you start from scratch, but it's just about getting into that motion of like, you know, writing and actually doing the exercise. Because in the end, it's often, I think, a lack of confidence for writers sometimes in their own ability to write it, actually, to be able to produce that piece. And even though you've done it 100 times before, but you know, even experienced writers still deal with that issue. But it's usually, I think what helps is for me, and always when, you actually, once you put down the first paragraph, it goes much easier from there on. So yeah.
There have been a lot of writers who've said along these lines of a quote, "I hate writing. I love having written."
Yeah, exactly.
and that is sometimes how it is for me. When I'm finished, I love it. Mm-hmm. But the process is sometimes, it's like cleaning. Mm-hmm. You sometimes have to make more of a mess for it to get better. And my drafts are not pretty all the time. But at the end, you just kind of have to trust the process that you're going to get there. But yeah, maybe it's putting one sentence down and pulling in another sentence. Oh no, that's not good. I'm going to walk away and come back to it. And then you just sort of build. But if you trust the process, then you'll get there.